Good morning. We're going to continue with our daily thought, and today's comes from Luke chapter 7, verse 39 through to 50. When the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, "If this man were a prophet, he would know who is touching him and what kind of woman she is, that she is a sinner." Jesus answered him, "Simon, I have something to tell you." "Tell me, teacher," he said. Two people owed money to a certain moneylender. One owed him 500 denarii, the other 50. Neither of them had the money to pay him back. So he forgave the debts of both. Now which of them will love him more? Simon replied, "I suppose the one who had the bigger debt forgiven." "You have judged correctly," Jesus said. Then he turned toward the woman and said to Simon, "Do you see this woman? I came into your house. You did not give me any water for my feet, but she wet my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You did not give me a kiss, but this woman, from the time I entered, has not stopped kissing my feet. You did not put oil on my head, but she has poured perfume on my feet. Therefore I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, as her great love has shown. But whoever is forgiven little loves little." Then Jesus said to her, "Your sins are forgiven." The other guests began to say among themselves, "Who is this who even forgives sins?" Jesus said to the woman, "Your faith has saved you. Go in peace." In Luke's version of this story, he's the only one who lets us know that this man was a Pharisee. Simon, who's called a leper in some of in the other canonical Gospels of Mark and Matthew. But Luke tells us that he's a Pharisee, which is an interesting concept, that Jesus had gone to this Pharisee's house for dinner. Now, we know from reading the passage that we just have that the woman who washes his feet was most likely there beforehand, because Jesus says, "From the moment I entered, she hasn't stopped kissing my feet." It's interesting that these two different people on the different scales of life, from one man a Pharisee, a religious leader, or whatever you want to call him, and the other this woman who her job would not have been one that people would have valued very highly, and she herself would not have been valued highly, yet she wanted to meet Jesus, and both of them do. And interestingly, looking on, you see a man who would have supposedly had more wisdom, more understanding, not quite get why Jesus was allowing this dirty woman wash his feet with her hair. But Jesus uses it again as an opportunity to teach us a great lesson. And the lesson is simple for me in terms of what you can take out of this. You could look at it from the perspective of this woman, broken, ashamed, unworthy. Maybe you can relate to that in some way. But rather than trying to make herself perfect, rather than trying to improve who she was before meeting Jesus, she comes to him as she is, unashamed. Although she's broken, although her life may be a mess, she washes his feet, she comes before him, she bows before him. You can imagine the shock on her face, where the custom of the day would have meant that Jesus should have had his feet washed. He should have been kissed and greeted that way. That's what was custom, but he wasn't. And I imagine that she was upset by that and decided, I don't care, I'm going to do it. And she does that. And Jesus' response to her, as it was with so many of the vulnerable, so many of the poor, the weary, the weak, the ones that the society of the day didn't like, he looks at her with love and he tells her that her sins have been forgiven. I want to encourage you today that no matter who you are, what you do, what you've done, Jesus will take you exactly as you are. So go to him today, reach out to him, and he'll help you. Have a great day.